December 16th, and the possible government shutdown. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, we're back at it yet again, talking about another potential government shutdown as lawmakers have simply not come together on a deal. Well, that's what I want to discuss right here in the video and share with you what this means for all of us. So let's get right into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side every single day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing all the necessary research, and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what's actually going on, and most importantly, how all of this is going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course, anything out there right now you can possibly grab and or take advantage of. Of course, I want to bring that to your attention right away. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet so you don't miss any videos going forward. And also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that's my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. All right, thanks again. Let's get into it and talk about December 16th as it is rapidly approaching and what this means for all of us as we are facing yet again another potential government shutdown. Now, here's the deal. We've been dealing with this for so long now. In fact, the last several years, every single time that we get to the end of the fiscal year for the federal government, which, by the way, is September 30th. October 1st is technically the start of the new fiscal year for the federal government when they're supposed to have their next budget for the fiscal year. But guess what? Usually, as of the last few years here, they generally don't have it done, and they kick the can down the road for a couple months. Sometimes it's a couple weeks, and therefore, here we are coming up on the deadline yet again. Well, here's the thing. They were supposed to have this done. Well, guess what they did? They've sat on their hands this whole time, waiting and waiting, and now here we are, right down to the wire, potentially facing a government shutdown, and we're waiting on negotiations because they're still trying to come together on an agreement for the 2023 fiscal year federal budget. So I want to talk you through the details about that because maybe they'll kick the can down the road, or maybe, like what we saw a couple years ago, we may go into a short-term government shutdown. That would not be out of line at this point to maybe consider that. At this point, it happened a couple years ago. There's no reason that it may not happen or that it may happen again right now. So yeah, let's talk about what this means. So first off, it would not be a full-fledged government shutdown. It would actually be a partial government shutdown. So that would be nice. Well, no, don't get me wrong. It would not be nice to have a government shutdown. I'm just simply saying it would be nice that we would not have a full government shutdown. Okay, that's what I meant to say with that. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying like, yeah, come on, government shutdown. I'm not saying that, okay? I can see how that may have been misunderstood a little bit, right? Okay, so anyway, now that that is clarified, here's what it comes down to. It would be a partial government shutdown. So in some instances, some different government entities or agencies or services may be very limited at that point, but it would not be a full-fledged thing, as in all government services would be shut down. It would not be that at all. However, here's what it comes down to. Some of these lawmakers are suggesting that, yes, we may be able to come together within the next few days. We'll see about that, okay? We've heard all this before. It's the same old song and dance from all these lawmakers. We've seen all this happen so many times over the last few years here, where they say, oh yeah, we're coming together. Don't worry, everyone. We'll get together on this deal. And then sure enough, at the very last minute, they say, we don't have a deal here. We got to push this out. We need to do another continuing resolution. Or sometimes they just say, you know what? We're done negotiating. We're just going to let this thing shut down, and we'll come back together here in a little while, and we'll come back together on this. So we've seen it all happen in a variety of different ways, but I've seen varying opinions on this. Some opinions are suggesting that they're maybe coming together on a 12-month deal. As in other words, basically pushing this out until the end of the fiscal year of 2023, which would be September 30th of 2023. So they may have a deal coming together on that. Or they might have to come together on a short-term fix, basically pushing this out until around the end of this year. So another, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks until the end of this year, so they can come together on the final terms of this thing. Or there's another suggestion out there that they may push this out until early next year after the new Congress is put in place. But they really want to get together on this new bill as of right now and the fiscal year budget, basically right now before the end of the year. So Some of the lawmakers are suggesting we may be here till Christmas. And I feel like if you don't get your work done, guess what? You have to stay there and do your work. You know what I mean? Let's just be real for a second. If you don't finish your work, unfortunately, you gotta stay. You know what I mean? This is the reality of the real world. Welcome. This is what we all have to deal with, right? If you don't get something done, you kind of have to stick around and finish it up, right? So anyway, this is what they're talking about as of right now. So another thing that also is brewing out there as well is the next debt ceiling. Do you remember this whole drama situation that played out last year around this time? There was all this talk about a year ago. It was in about mid-December of last year. All of a sudden, there was this whole situation. We were coming up to the debt ceiling. Remember that? And if they did not raise the debt ceiling, the United States would have defaulted and all like, oh my, the whole thing would have hit the fan and it would have been an ugly situation, right? Well, now there's some of the lawmakers that are out there suggesting right now that they should come together before the new Congress is sworn in early January, that they should come together and work out a fix on the debt ceiling for next year right away right now so that the new Congress doesn't have that whole situation on their plate right away next year, because then they say the new Congress is just going to have more leverage to actually try to negotiate other terms out. So that's another thing that they're trying to hammer out again right now before the end of the year. So kind of an interesting thing here as we wrap up the last couple of weeks of this year. And here we are yet again, Congress is scrambling around, and it's like you know what I mean? It's like they're trying to work out all these different things here before the end of the year. And it's like, what are they really doing here, right? So this is another thing that they're considering. Next, I just saw a new piece of report that came out suggesting that they're working on a $500 billion piece of legislation and bills with all these other things that they want to get done yet again, while Democrats have full control right now before they lose the House of Representatives to Republicans after they're sworn in again in early January. So another thing that's going on right now, and this is what they're all discussing as of right now. So when it all comes down to it, the next couple of weeks here, apparently these lawmakers really want to get a lot done. Will they actually get any of it done? Well, the fact of the matter is, at a minimum, they need to come together on the 2023 federal budget. That's one thing that we do know they need to get done here, because we could potentially be looking at a partial government shutdown, or maybe they're going to push this thing out and kick the can down the road yet again. Either way, we don't really know those answers until it's the time of, the day of, right? Usually these things drag out until the very last minute. We've seen this happen so many times here over the last couple of years. Literally the day before we're going into potential government shutdown, either they possibly pass something or they come together and say, we don't have a deal. Not really sure what to do here, but we're not coming together on a deal, and we may go into that partial shutdown. So that could potentially be something that happens here as well. Either way, I'm going to continue watching all this stuff. Between now and the end of the year, there's going to be a lot going on between all of these lawmakers, the negotiations, the bills, the packages, the proposals, the new legislation, all of that they have circling around out there. Yeah, it's going to be pretty busy here, right? But again, we've also seen this before as well, and I would not be shocked one bit to see this, is all of a sudden they may come together on a short-term fix, and then we turn our backs for a second and wait, where'd they all go? They disappeared. Oh, they all jumped on a plane and they went home. You know what I mean? So I would not be shocked to see that happen yet again as well. So we'll see. The next couple of weeks here are going to be very interesting. And again, I'm going to continue to keep you posted. But when it comes down to the partial shutdown, I'm going to say this much. Don't really worry about it, okay? A few government services will be very limited at that point if we actually went into a government shutdown. But again, I'm going to say the chances of that actually happening are probably pretty slim. In my honest opinion, I would say the chances of a government shutdown would probably be pretty slim at this point. Even if they don't come together on a long-term solution, I'm going to say this much. At a minimum, I would anticipate they'll come together on at least a short-term fix for maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2, maybe 3 months, something like that. I would anticipate some type of short-term fix, a little Band-Aid that they can slap on there while they head home for the holidays. I wouldn't be shocked to see that at all. In fact, I kind of anticipate that to happen, but we'll see. Maybe they'll come together on a long-term solution. But again, when it comes down to a government shutdown, at the end of the day, I really wouldn't worry about it that much, okay? I know some people here are kind of worried about, like, oh, what does this mean? Is it going to impact us? It may be impactful in a little bit of a way, but for the most part, it's not going to have that much of an impact, okay? Maybe a few services will be shut down, closed for a little while, or very limited in the event that even happens. But again, I don't really anticipate that happening. So, But it still is an option. Again, I can't completely dismiss it. It is something that still could happen, and it's still something we certainly need to watch because, again, it's on the table. It's in the cards right now that, yes, it still could happen. But again, I'm going to throw that percentage being kind of low at this point. Anyway, I'll keep you posted. I want to give you a quick update on this, let you know what's going on. December 16th is the last day that they need to get something done here because this is the date that the last continuing resolution that they passed way back in the end of September, this is when it expires, is the end of the day on December 16th. So that's what it really comes down to. If they don't have a deal, long or short term by then, that's when the shutdown would happen. The morning of, right away on the 17th. So hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm here for you in any way that can be. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, have a good one, and I'll catch you again later.